Hello, everybody, and welcome on back to more of the Mars TV Dota 2 League LAN final event. Still don't know about the naming on that one, but we will try. It's a tournament from Mars, but that's how it feels, at least, as we work our way through the late night shift. I've got Jack and Parker by my side. It's about 2:30 a.m. local time, and we are invigorated and excited for more Dota action. So we are well into the round-robin stage now, and it sounds like Jack is well researched and ready to give us the scoop on what the hell's happening. Where are we at? What if people are tuning in right now? They want to know what's happening in this round stage.
How's Newbee doing?
Where's Newbee?
You mentioned excitement. The thing that excites me most is that we could have a gigantic logjam with a bunch of 4-3 teams, and we could end up playing qualifiers deep into the next day or night. That is what excites me most. So
lots of Dota.
Here's what needs to
Jack.
happen. So Vici and Newbee, there's a matchup we're going into right now. Both teams are 3-3, right? So the cutoff right now is basically if you want to be in the upper bracket, you've got to be 4-3. So the winner of this match is going to be in the running for upper bracket. The loser obviously is going to be out of consideration. So with the winner of this match going to 4-3, we have three other teams right now at 4-2, sitting atop the upper bracket. They are LGD, EG, and OG. And all of these teams have matches to play. So if all of them lose, then we could have a gigantic 4-3 logjam. I believe that is going to come down to head-to-head tiebreakers at first for 3 or more teams. So that would mean that LGD should be pretty much home free.
It looks like the LFY match and this one are the two big ones, because either Vici or Newbee is going to go 4-3. So that means there's 4 teams with 4 wins, and then if LFY wins, there's 5 teams with 4 wins. If LFY loses, you've got your top 4.
Right. So the LFY EG series could just end the logjam for good, because then we'd have 4.
If EG win, then we're good. EG's top seed, or tied for top seed maybe, and then you've got 4 clear top 4 spots. No tiebreakers. We don't want that, Jack. We want tiebreakers.
Well, so the moral of the story is your hopes and dreams once again rest with evil geniuses, as always.
Well, right? to lose, you need LFY to win. We need, our hopes and dreams rest with the bog.
The bog. The bog. Whether EG can handle the bog, that's what it's going to come down to, right?
Okay.
Or whatever EG's drafting for themselves.
Yeah, you know.
Today started with a Sumail AA, so it seems like EG are still like, having a fun time with the tournament so far. While this is happening, there is also another Mars TV matchup on Beyond the Summit 2. We got Breaky, and he is bringing, Clutch Gamers versus OG?
That's the other matchup, yeah.
So if you guys like to keep it green and Clutch Gamer action, be sure to head over to Beyond the Summit 2. But if you like us, stay here and hang out. We got Newbee, we got Vici Gaming, we got a draft. It's right above Jack's head there. And our first pick is belonging to Vici Gaming, and they're going to go right into a puck. Newbee respond with Sand King, so already feeling very meta.
Yep. That drow pick is still available for either team. It's been banned out a lot of the time against Newbee. We'll see if it
So we saw a pretty exciting last game between Newbee and LGD, right? The comeback from Medusa, just kind of desperately clawing their way back. I've been paying attention a little bit to, what some of the Chinese fans have been saying, and even to stream chat from time to time. And there's some funny stuff out there. I mean, a lot of them are saying that. So in China, there are people who obviously like anywhere else, they buy accounts from people, but you can also pay good players to play with you, and you kind of learn from them.
Be
and
my
get carried
friend.
by them.
Play with me.
So the joke has been going around by some of the Chinese fans that basically the Western teams, the Western Big Daddies, OG and EG, are here to practice with the Chinese teams before TF. They're both 4-2, so they're probably about as good as expected. EG has been, as you mentioned, Dakota, they seem to be trying some stuff, whether it's different mid hero, whether it's playing non-traditional supports or cores in a different role. They've really just been mixing things up a little bit. So they're still having success, but they seem to be tinkering with things as well.
You definitely can see that EG is still very high caliber, high skilled players that are trying some things out, some things that have always worked out for them, some things that maybe they want to throw into the formula there. So here we have Newbee and Vici, and they got to pull out something good if they want to stay afloat, at least into the upper bracket, and you get that extra life moving forward. And if you even make it past that first round, you might even secure an extra chunk of money for your team. So Silencer as the second pickup here for Newbee. Already kind of setting the stage and limiting the hero pool a bit for Vici Gaming a bit. But, oh my god, it's an Earth Spirit. Earth Spirit into Silencer. I hate that a lot, by the way. I don't know. At least when I play Earth Spirit, I don't want to see Silence on the other team. I hate that. That's the worst ever.
They get that Arcane Curse on you, and suddenly you're taking like 500 damage.
You're like, I want to put stones down and kick them and magnetize and put more stones down.
Does the Arcane Curse proc when you put stones down?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Probably
because
wouldn't,
not mana cost, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't want to cast and roll and
still bad
kick
either way.
And pull.
Are you enjoying? We're seeing a lot of Earth Spirit. This has been like
Yeah.
a first pick by a lot of teams. OG's been playing it a lot.
Even in the phase where we had a lot of the mid laners who were very just elusive and Queen of Pains and Pucks, he tends to have a hard time finding people to gank in the early game, and you need that little bit of a lift off. You need that kind of first blood, that early game action to kind of propel you forward into that level 6 and magnetize, because he just sucks at farming. So if you don't get anything going, you're just walking around basically doing nothing. But he's like a Swiss Army knife support, I'd like to say, because you get a stun, you get a silence, you get mobility, initiation, everything.
There aren't too many melee heroes that carry around a stun and a silence with them and have that kind of mobility. I mean, that's why he'd been such a strong hero to begin with. We have to keep in mind he is on a strength body, so still relatively durable. A very mobile hero, can get anywhere at any time, and as you said, the Swiss Army knife, multiple functions. So you can see that teams, maybe at the very beginning when he was first released into Captain's Mode, some teams didn't have the same confidence to play him, or you thought of it more as like a specialist hero, the Chinese term for that as well. But now pretty much, I think most teams are able to play that, and we've seen that with other heroes like Oracle as well. Like maybe again at the start, just specialist teams were doing it, but now I think most teams have that as part of their repertoire.
It really screams out Vici. I don't know. Maybe a Lifestealer. Got 2 of the best vehicles you could ask for in the game already on your team. So I wonder if Lifestealer is something they might consider for their core. Even though lately, for whatever reason, it's all about CK. Suddenly CK is the hot core on the block.
Well, not in this game, at least.
Not in this game. He actually gets banned. And his poor brother Sven also gets taken off the playing field. But we're going to go right into Lady LC, Legion Commander.
Some interesting stats. Well, there's a Reddit post about the most successful heroes of the qualifiers for TI7, and Lifesteal I think was 2nd or 3rd as far as it took into consideration like how many games it was played as well as win rate. I can't remember exactly what the number was. It was saying like the shift in how good the hero was, not just in terms of win rate, but like the shift in ELO or whatever. I don't know, but Lifesteal was one of the best. So interesting to kind of see that. Yet the hero is not being played all that much at MDL.
We'll see. I'm feeling it here possibly for Vici, but I don't know. Legion Commander could change their mind a bit.
Yeah, I think CK's been pretty unquestionably the hero of the tournament so far, whether like all the teams basically are willing to play him or he's been banned out quite a bit. So
yeah, I still don't know how I feel about it personally. I think his right click is very gratifying. It sounds nice. It looks powerful. He looks like a badass. I'm Coddle guy though, and he is naturally. Oh, speak of the devil. Speak of the greatest hero in the game. Natural arch nemesis to CK though, so that's why I'm kind of like a bit indifferent about it. He wants to suck up the light. I'm all about providing it, bringing it, keeping it. Anyways,
not as natural as a Night Stalker.
Not as natural as a Night Stalker. Very true. Though he's banned in this game, Keeper seems much more. We're not going to see much Coddle as long as this Night Stalker is really, or Night Stalker rather, is really in the meta. But I'm curious what the Keeper's for. It likes, it means you want to stall the game out a bit. Usually like to be a strong mana source for someone like a Storm Spirit, let's say. Don't know yet if this Puck is committed to being in the mid lane or off lane, or if Vici Gaming even run it like that or not.
Kind of disruption for the Legion Commander potentially, and early on could be very annoying to him with the mana leak. And then obviously like what the other things that Keeper does, like pushes out waves very well for support, gives you that team fight presence.
Don't get hit by that curse though.
An enabler for combos as well, and like they don't have a lot of like too much gap close as far as for the Keep the Light in terms of being able to like pick him off or really just kill him that way. So he's a little bit less of a risky pick in that sense. I think and enables a lot of combo lanes as well. So
yeah, I think it's kind of unclear that this is like a obvious Keeper game though from when and where it's picked up. Yeah. I think it's something that Vici Gaming just kind of decided they want for their lineup composition. We're just maybe not seeing what it's going to be comboing with right away. Or like a playstyle thing where being able to use that recall to split push and then bring that hero into a fight. Earthshaker picked up as an offlaner. Definitely hear that gets some benefit from the Coddle. We sometimes see there's like Coddle, Shaker, dual lanes, but you also could be wondering like who's actually supporting the safe lane at that point. Is it just going to be a hero
No.
to 1v1 Legion. Legion actually does very well in most matchups.
Yeah, that's the thing, is now they need to commit to, I imagine, either some sort of solo farming core and go aggro. I like Keeper in that offlane position too, but you're right, because Earth Spirits might want to move around, and then your safe laner stuck with nobody. I'm very, very curious about the laning setup here by Vici Gaming, that's for sure.
Their damage output potentially a bit lacking as well. Like this puck obviously can do decent magic damage. See if he's still going to go the Veil build after the nerf to the item, but Shaker with a blink can get some big ulti damage off, but I think there's still, like, typically that Shaker is sitting back, throwing the fissures down, and I think the carry is going to have a lot of heavy lifting to do with this lineup.
There's a huge reliance on magical burst from him for sure, given what they've picked. I mean, sorry, a huge reliance on magical burst for the heroes that they have right now, for that carry position, making it the burden a little bit more difficult. And then for Newbee, kind of a classic. Like, again, they often pick that KP hero very early on. In this case, it goes third. But the Sand King, again, giving them the flexibility to be Kaka's hero or KP's hero. And then with the Silencer, you see that combo all the time with something like a Bat Rider, which was banned out against them, or Legion Commander, where they just want to be able to take one fight at a time, get a quick pick off, and then you protect the Legion's duel with the Silencer, and there's no real way to save that. All they didn't pick save heroes. Anyway, maybe accounting for that early Silencer as well. And the Jug retains its flexibility as well, because they can run it mid against the puck if they'd like.
Yeah, very true. It's definitely very open as far as that's concerned. The one thing, I don't know if Vici Gaming is a team that would ever consider like the Shaker mid. We saw that with EG when they had Shaker and Puck. If Newbie picked like a melee mid like an Ember Spirit, that's where you can be like, well, let's actually put Shaker mid and he can win that lane and put the Puck in the off lane, because a lot of teams are doing that offlane Puck.
I don't believe I believe, I'm almost certain this is an Ori hero mid. I don't believe I've seen Ori play a lot of Puck, and I don't think I've seen Yang play as much Earthshaker. So.
Lone Druid is the final piece of the puzzle here for Vici Gaming, and I guess what's going to be their true source of damage and something to be pungent into the late game.
Kind of like push-oriented draft in some ways with the Lone Druid. The Coddle with an Axe has some good kind of 5-man capabilities. Definitely curious to see exactly how everything's going to come together for this Vici Gaming draft. They have got some fairly potent, strong lanes here. With the Lone Druid, the Puck. We talked about a self-sufficient safe laner. That's exactly what Lone Druid is, and that's the kind of hero you need when you've got this Coddle, Earth Spirit. Earth Spirit wants to roam, Coddle typically more in the off lane, so they get a carry that can go toe-to-toe with a Legion a little bit better. So
do you think that means that they are going to put Keeper and Earthshaker together and allow the Earth Spirit to do as he pleases?
I think they will, actually. This reminds me a little bit of what Liquid was doing. They would pick these heroes in conjunction with, say, a Tusk or something else. You would be able to have like lane and tower pressure on all of the lanes, which is what they have with this composition. ES with the Keeper, with or without the Keeper, puts a lot of pressure on that safe lane, and you basically can't really gank or kill him. Lone Druid is also a very difficult hero to gank, especially given Newbee's lineup. Just because he's so self-sufficient, he has solo kill potential at 5. He has the fear on the Savage Roar on the Bear that can protect himself from these kind of ganks. So if they can't put pressure on their cores, and let's say there isn't much going on with the roam from Kaka, they could lose their towers very quickly when they do commit to a lane, and the Earthshaker can kind of slow down ganks as well if he ends up rotating around. It's interesting. It's a bit Liquid feels to me, and if Newbee don't get too much out of laning phase, they start losing their towers, then that Lone Druid could be pushing high ground with the Coddle behind him fairly early on.
And what do you think about Newbee's lineup and what their laning phase might achieve here, Gods? Because you know, if this was like a DC kind of a thing, they would be putting Kaka right into the mid lane straight away to be able to allow the TA to really go out of control. But do you think SCCC on the TA should be fine on his own, and they might need to put some assistance to that top lane where the Coddle Earthshaker is going to be?
I think that Coddle Earthshaker can put a lot of pressure on them, but there just seems to be a recurring theme, like send heroes mid, not just your mid heroes. Send your supports there, send your forward position there. It seems a really big deal that early on you can if you can give your mid laner an advantage there by just zoning out the enemy mid at the start, it's going to really help you out. And the problem is the Coddle Earthshaker is up top, but mid lane you've got an Earth Spirit. Earth Spirit's actually very good at pressuring the TA at level 1. It's kind of tough whether you go Refraction or the Side Blades. Most TAs I feel like will go the Side Blades, but then if you get rolled on, you suddenly lose half your health. That mid lane, if you have a bad block as TA, is going to be very difficult to play.
Alright, so as we get underway, your Earth Spirit heads to that mid lane a bit early, plops down a bit of vision for the rest of the team. while Newbee engage in a bit of a early, well, not early, kind of a later smoke pop closer to that mid lane, so they have a bit more time to scout around here, it would appear. I don't know if they're trying to reach for a bit of intel. Moogie actually going to be taken to the high ground here, could get blocked inside and end up being the first blood, it would look like. Ooh, just a bit too much of a risk to peek onto that high ground. Vici were there waiting for him and welcomed him with open arms.
Look at that. It's D-Ward 2.
100 gold also. Yummy.
It's just good positioning from Vici Gaming, being on the high ground there and not just with one hero. Normally you see like an off-laner kind of scouting it out, but bottom lane, it means Elf is somewhat alone, and we'll see if he can get away, or Mr. End.
Yeah, it's for your carry to be...
Oh, what is Kaka doing? Well, he's
he's
thinking
live.
I could go in and trade my own life, but they actually traded off the aggro, and KP's going to be soaking the damage of the tower, and, well, now we're even, 1-1.
He tried to salve and dive the tower for the kill, but Lone Druid turned around to cancel the salve, and good news for Kaka was he was able to toggle the tower aggro back
Now
onto
it's
KP.
Faith in a lot of trouble, but he can't eat his way through the trees, but not if there's going to be a fissure and a blast onto his bottom.
That's a beautiful Cuddle Blast. That is.
It is.
It's a very satisfying Cuddle Blast right to the face.
And now it's Vici, 2-1. Nice little spicy start to our game. I like that. Early aggression coming out. It doesn't even stop as Kaka is... Was that a purposeful feed over,
Yeah,
it looks
it
like?
was.
Yeah. It is an extended death timer, remember, but...
Still
Beats walking home.
Beats walking home. That
Yep.
walk of shame really sucks.
would take more than 20 seconds to get back to base. He'll just respawn, see if he TPs to a lane or walks his way out, but mid lane, the rolls are going to start. They aren't hitting so far. SCC trying to stay away and kind of anticipate some of those. Does have a high ground ward is the key thing here, so this will help him out against the Earth Spirit.
Gotta say, the Frog hit a pretty good spot with that roll. You could still land it, but it is not easy. So I would think if you made it any harder, it would be too difficult. And if you made it any easier, it would be a little too easy mode. But you'll see even some of the best not quite get the connection there. Bottom lane, Burrow Strike. The Savage Roar is going to be committed here from End to just kind of get them off his back. So Kaka's here for now. I was kind of curious where he was going to be residing. He's a bit all over the place, but for now wants to pressure the Lone Druid.
Yeah, if they do manage to get a second kill on him, and that would be huge, obviously. He wouldn't have the bear for... Well, it's down to 50 seconds now, so not the end of the world. They're going to try to chase him off the lane a little bit. But you can kind of see, like, Liquid has been Newbee's arch nemesis for as long as you can remember, like, at least the past year, as we see.
Ooh, I like that.
HYM putting some harass onto SCCC.
Yeah, Amy goes for the kick back instead of the stun, so they get that little bit of extra time for right clicks, just enough, but they're one short for being able to finish him off, so he'll just pop the salve.
He had refraction. It was kind of like calculate, trying to bait them into the tower to take some damage there. But SCC is actually kind of holding his own. He's down on CS and all, but actually has a health advantage against this Puck now, who does not have a salve out in the lane just yet. So I think this lane is still looking like it's in a fairly stable place for SCC.
Yeah, so this is that Liquid look they're talking about. They got the Coddle Earthshaker successfully gotten a couple kills already.
Yep.
Especially
And
with Moogie wandering out as the carry to scout. I mean, you would usually think that he's safe because he does have the Blade Fury and some move speed, but getting trapped like that.
No connection on the roll in the mid lane. Follows up with the Boulder Smash, which will find connection, but no real threat here. They're trying to continue to pressure out SC, but as I step away, an orb is thrown, actually finds connection.
He went through as well. I don't think that was necessary, but...
All the way out to the other side. He'll round the corner to make it back, but both mid laners are pretty badly beaten and bruised, so they'll have to take some time to regen up. But yeah, the big breadwinner is in this early game. It's belonging to Yang right now. He's 18-0, highest CS. He has the benefit of the kill, so him and Coddle here, the classic old school setup. Look at it. Oh my god. Fissures and blasts. It's quite annoying and frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, he's getting some neutrals as well on top of that. This top lane's going fantastic for Vici. Mid lane's going pretty well also. They would have gotten a kill if he'd maybe landed like one of those 3 rolls he's missed, but even without landing the rolls, he's still doing some really good harass damage, pressuring the TA.
Now he's bottom lane. They're rolling on in, looking to get the grab possibly for Kaka, but he gets the help from KP, and they look to turn things around, and they'll get it done onto Amy. Will they make it a twofer? Yes, they will. Kaka actually secures both of them. And this is turning into quite the problem for Vici Gaming in their safe lane.
Some nasty stuff, this Orb of Venom Sand King. Actually got the Orb of Venom first. This is kind of an atypical 4-position Sand King build. You typically will see the either boots first or like a Windlace plus a Stout Shield. He's going for maximum slow with the Caustic plus the Orb of Venom. Just trying to keep his opponents in place.
And he's going to swipe the bounty rune. Very nice. Hastener at the top, but look at this roll connection from Amy. But, you know, you would commit the boulder smash, but you're not going to get the kill, so why even bother? Only level 2 still for our Earth Spirit, so he is going to need some time to be a bit selfish and get the levels.
That's a nice Orb of Venom pickup, as you guys were talking about in the Sand King. Like, the Caustic was nerfed recently in terms of its damage, but it's still 30% slow. That doesn't need levels to scale, and you add that on top of the Orb of Venom early on, whether it stops the bear from getting off extra attacks or slows down the Lone Druid, so you can kind of run him down. So it's a nice pickup, and it's obviously more than returned its weight in value so far to Kaka.
Yeah, this bottom lane is definitely the highlight of Newbee's laning stage in early game. TA has managed to kind of even up the CS against this puck. Double null on the puck, but TA now with Wraith Band, Raindrops, and Bottle back in base, so we'll be able to continue to farm and likely looking to stack some Ancients.
Good harassment onto the top lane. They force out Moogie's Blade Fury, but he already has the ward out, so we'll be fine. They avoid a bit of trouble. Still high CS belonging to the Earthshaker, but actually the TA you were talking about now takes over on that. Well, bottom lane, trade of stuns. There's the kick. Woo! Doesn't quite get the roll there. Bit of an awkward spot for Amy at the moment. Before that, we saw him making another attempt onto the TA in the mid lane, but they just were a bit short on the damage. Top lane, fissure connection onto Faith, which means a blast will follow right after. Very threatening lane still.
Shaker's got a lot of farm, but he's not got a huge amount of levels because he's been splitting the XP, so he's actually a full level behind Jug, which means this lane gets pretty scary with a level 6 Jug.
Yep.
The Omni Slash threat is definitely something Yang will likely may lead to him leaving this lane. Does cancel the clarity, which means Jug is a bit low in mana, which is definitely big. As a Jug, if you don't have mana for Spin and Blade Fury, you may not be able to find those kills.
Amy under a bit of threat there in the bottom lane. Ended up stepping back off to the top lane.
KP has Jewel up, but we'll see if anything kind of comes his way. Maybe with the Sand King stun could find something, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, and then what we talked about in terms of the damage, so what does this look like going into mid-game based on the start? You could see the Earthshaker and Legion Commander getting off to good starts and probably getting relatively quick Blink Daggers.
Okay, here we go. We got a coil set up here for Kaka. He does go for the burrow and forcing the snap, but can't hide on the other side of the trees.
There's going to be a good influx of gold there for FY. So that's the tempo point for both teams, being able to make plays. But if you look at the damage output for VG, with the Lone Druid not getting off to a great start and usually going for that Radiance build to begin with, there's not much other than magical damage, magical burst for them. So when you talk about the effect of, say, Global Silence, when that Silencer gets to the mid-game, and when you talk about the Healing Ward as well, being able to mitigate that kind of magic burst, there could be a real issue in taking those team fights for VG. And, I mean, it feels like they have to focus really on just keeping the wave shoved out and trying to get towers instead of taking too many fights, because with the Global, with the Healing Ward, with the Juggernaut, and his natural like spin to be able to deal with that, with the Magic Burst, it could be very hard for them to take protracted team fights until a Lone Druid has more itemization.
Yeah. Has for now got a Mask of Madness queued up, something a bit different, bit interesting. See where he kind of heads to, if that is going to be the case, or if he does go for that more maybe standard Midas into Radiance build. But as it stands, no big moves yet from either team. The Puck Dream Coil is definitely the easiest tool for Vici Gaming to find kills off of at this moment. For the Dire side, the big kind of fighting tools is like the Jewel as well as the Omni Slash when that's up. But Moogie's kind of continuing to suffer from mana problems up top. Doesn't have easy access to the Omni Slash for now, unless he can get like a Courier with some clarities, his Ring of Aquila, something to kind of give him some mana.
Could be under a bit more threat than that here soon, or maybe not. Or he has the coil up. He had TB'd up to the top shrine. Figured they might make the rotation up there and, you know, make a coil play happen onto Moogie, but maybe they've thought of some new options here. He steps away from the lane, and they're going to keep it kind of as it's been since the start. Or he will head back to his mid lane for now. Amy's still hanging there behind, but he's still just level 3. Eventually these supports are going to have to get some lanes or some opportunities to kind of farm up, or, I don't know, make kills happen that they can participate in.
I mean, Newbee's just happy to farm right now. They've got TA farming a triple Ancient stack, while SK took over the mid lane for a little bit and now is rotating top. Newbee just being a lot more efficient with the resources available.
Okay, here comes a move from Newbee. Kaka's here in the top lane and looking to set up possibly onto Yang. FY is not level 6 yet, can't Blinding Light bump them all back, but he does dish out a bit of a blast, but it's not going to be enough to fend off Newbee. They make their move for Yang, but he started a TP, but Mugi steps in with that Omni Slash and will help get the finish. But here comes Vici, rotating over. They've been smoked up. Ori's looking to get the setup with the coil, and they get it onto Mugi. And it looks like they will be able to get a response kill onto the core of Newbee.
Not a bad response, but still a lot of resources invested to get all those heroes to the top lane. With that said, you've still got bottom lane and farming away on this lone druid.
Ooh, they're going for Faith onto the top lane, a roll in from Amy. They're trying to get a hold of him, but that slippery little man is juking through the trees. Finally, Ori's jumping into action now. Faith steps away from the trees, hits him with a curse, and it looks like he might have been able to wiggle his way out from trouble. KP is now rotated in, and they're looking to make the move for Ori. He sends the orb up and above. They already had that direction. He goes for the TP, but he's got the duel, pulls him in, and shuts him down.
+10 and -2 there from Newbee. If you're that was kind of an interesting set of sequences right there. So I think if you're Yang, you definitely want Ori to rotate a little bit sooner. As the 3 heroes are closing in on the secret shop or in the shop and trying to kill him, that's when you want the puck to be there. You get those counter kills, probably save his life in the process. But instead, the rotation is timely from Newbee. You see Faith behind the tower. They were going to leave him for dead most likely, but he managed to dodge 2 spells, the kick as well as the illuminate. So instead of losing a bunch of health being bursted down, that opens up the window for Newbee heroes to rotate back in. They get a duel out of it and plus in for Faith. So a much better rotation there from Newbee. That's kind of been their calling card with early rotations, with being precise with these movements. They're very good at that, and there's a bit of sloppiness there from VG, I think, in that whole sequence.
I was even thinking like, oh, Silencer, you can just, after he missed those spells, he could have just TP'd out. There were no stuns available, but he just looped around and waited for the TPs back in.
Roll commitments on for SCCC. Faith decides to call out the global to bail him out, and it is successful. 3-man gank. Not going to be walking away with any sort of win there. No coil, but still.
And if you want to talk about kind of butterfly effect, instead of dying, Faith lives through it, gets his experience at level 6, saves his mid right there. So, snowball game, of course, being though that is, but it's kind of, you know, hard to not see the connection between those series of events there, and that's got to be unfortunate for VG. Their early lane advantage is really starting to slip away, it feels like. And they don't really have a hero that takes advantage of farming stacks. This is something that some drafts account for and others don't, and they don't really have one that takes advantage of that in this case.
Yeah, we're seeing TA top of the net worth, and that's only going to continue to accelerate at this point as SCCC is farming those Ancients. He's got stacks in his jungle, thanks to his good friend the Silencer, and this is definitely a time where VG Gaming have to be concerned that they are losing this farm battle.
And it looks like SCCC is queuing up the Blink Dagger first. So that decision always between going the Blink or the Deso. What helps decide that, and what was it about this game that he's going for the Blink first?
I'm not a big TA player, so
Me
I feel
neither.
like it kind of... It's one of those things where I feel like you normally don't see the TA get involved until you get both items anyways, so it doesn't really make a massive difference which one you get first. It's kind of my assessment from just watching TAs a lot in competitive Dota. The Blink is nice if you're worried about getting ganked, and I think the idea is that VG Gaming are likely under a lot of pressure because TA's out farming them, so they may want to gank the TA. If you have Refraction up, they go on you, use spells, you don't take damage, you can still blink out. I think that's the nicest thing about the Blink.
Yeah, there's like a bit of like lockdown and disable from VG as well, but like the Blink Dagger allows you to escape that, even if you've been hit by it. Just because if you have Refraction up, obviously, like you'll still have the Blink, so that might be a consideration as well. Like he'll be able to get away from that, disengage from that kind of regardless.
He gets Stream Cold, he can blink out.
It's time to duel, gentlemen.
Yes.
Leaping up to the low ground. It's going to be a grab onto the coddle here. Ori responds, gets good damage. Oh, Yang tries to echo from the high ground. Not going to be super effective there. Kaka's still living on, even dodges the boulder smash. SCCC goes for the TP out, and he is long gone. Gotta say, gentlemen, it looks like Newbee are kind of styling over Vici at this point.
He Master Madness on the bear.
Yeah.
He couldn't Savage Roar. I was like, is it Savage Roar cooldown? But he was silenced.
Oh.
So he couldn't Savage Roar. He was hoping for an Entangle, I guess, instead. I imagine he was probably popped the Mask of Madness before he even saw the TP out, but at that point then it's like, well, you can't stop a TP unless you get that root, which you'd expect one. It's a Mask of Madness Spirit Bear. Unlucky for end.
Here is now possibly Newbee. Are they going to set up something here as the tower goes down? Newbee and KP are waiting within the trees. Nearby, Kaka is waltzing on over. He does have an Epi good to go. Vici are rotating over, snagging up the bounty rune, but it doesn't look like Newbee are going to engage.
Seems like this Mask of Madness Bear is like a substitute Midas. He's using it as like a farming tool and tower pressuring tool. A slightly less greedy option.
Oh, a move on to Faith prompts the global as a defensive
This guy
tool.
can't get roots.
But yeah, without roots, without any way to lock him down, he's simply walking out and away. They finally are able to follow up with the help of Yang. Now KP thinking about rushing into action here. Amy tries the boulder smash, gets slashed on up from the Omni coming out from Mugi. Now, as they pressure back Vici a bit, they reset their positioning, maybe thinking about re-engaging here, but it looks like Vici are going to be allowed to exit. A one-for-one trade when it's all said and done.
Mid tower did go down. TA helping assist a creep wave get that, but there's a Shaker Blink. There's TA level 13 with a Blink. This TA, the insane thing is just the levels more than anything. Killing Ancients and being able to just solo farm in a game like this. Getting ahead on gold's one big thing, but when you're this far ahead of everyone on experience, a full 3 levels ahead of any Radiant hero, you're in this really sweet spot where you just get a ton of extra stats and all your spells max out nice and early, and it's very hard to deal with.
What about the late game option? I know it's only 15 minutes in here, Jack, but Vici Gaming do have this Coddle. They have high ground defense with that and with the Earthshaker. Is there a chance that they push it on late enough that this Lone Druid becomes an some sort of mega raid boss in this game?
It's certainly a possibility, but I think for the most part the hero's strength is just not in that. Especially given that you're seeing most Lone Druids now go back to the melee form after that brief run of glory, basically in the ranged sniper form. Just because, like, both in terms of the talents, in terms of the actual durability of the bear itself, just even with the talents, like, becomes kind of questionable. You load him up with items, but it just feels like he dies way too easily later on. So that doesn't end up being a super reliable kind of raid boss option. I think most Lone Druids, especially the way Liquid plays it, you're going to have a good laning advantage and you're going to be able to end things or take objectives by the mid game. So I'm not too sure about the late game prospects for VG. On the other hand, though, like, you're not really worried about things like global silence as much if you're VG. Most of your spells are pretty instant or used in pretty obvious situations where, like, you'd have to preemptively global to stop them, perhaps. So but I don't like their prospects going into late game against the scaling that Newbee has against the TA and Juggernaut, and Legion Commander, of course, as well.
I kind of agree with that. I think that Radiant's timing is really where they're going to be at their strongest and looking to achieve quite a lot. They don't want to drag it too far beyond that point, but the big problem is their early game hasn't perhaps gone as well as they would have liked it to, so getting to that Radiant's point maybe going to be a bit slower. They're also going to be running into very farmed heroes. TA likely to have a Deso before that Radiance is up. And TA now smoking up with the rest of the team. 5-man smoke from Newbee.
Well, this is supposed to be Vici's really time to fight. You have Veil online for your puck, Blinking Echo, Magnetize is now up and ready to play.
Sanking as a blink is the really nice thing for Newbee.
But yeah, Newbee are the ones taking action. Now on their smoke move through this mid lane, Vici nearby, it's Amy in the lane, and it looks like he'll be the one to tank the gank. He will hand over some dual damage to KP. Kaka, look at though, heads to the high ground, scouts out FY's Coddle. Ooh, nice little force staff to the high ground, and that will be a nice safety spot for him.
Not the big team fight they were hoping for, or even a core kill with that smoke, but still a dual kill, and immediately they'll go back to farming, maybe even look for another smoke opportunity or team fight opportunity, since they didn't use any big ultis. They've still got the global silence. Jewel has very short cooldown. It's kind of like the Newbee playstyle Jack likes to talk about, where it's like play around their big ultis, then go like kind of farm in between and wait for them to come back up.
Coil Veil committed onto Kaka, who's simply going in for the rune. Now Ori's doesn't want any more action, jumps the other way, but Coil down, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of the tempo thing, right? Like they found that segment of tempo with the cooldown. But a couple of things there to point out. Like I think in terms of smokes, like a lot of Chinese teams, Newbee especially, like you'll see a lot of 5-man smokes, whereas teams from other regions may do more of a, hey, you have 1 or 2 people showing and clearing waves and you smoke with the rest. But you don't necessarily, especially if you end up getting like an Earth Spirit, or you're willing to settle for an Earth Spirit rather than a core, you don't need your whole team to be smoking, and it kind of gives it away too, because you saw when they popped that smoke, at the bottom wave there was a tower, there was a wave hitting their tower, nobody was there to clear it. the top wave, naturally, no one's going to farm that far out. But it became a little bit clear, and then I think VG were clued into what was going on. So ultimately, the Earth Spirit is the only person who really shows in any kind of vulnerable position. You saw End already on Lodra hiding behind the trees, waiting for the smoke to reveal itself. So those kinds of things, while it may still work perhaps internally or against other Chinese teams, I think when you're looking at the championship difference between the best teams in the world, that's something that I feel should be addressed. Maybe you're just giving away too much with that smoke, or it's a little bit too obvious to some of the elite teams what's going on there.
It kind of what you're saying, I kind of agree with this. It just didn't feel like a clever, efficient move. There could have been a lot more split up, pushing out lanes while smoking with 2 or 3 heroes. Because the Legion TA who killed the Earth Spirit, they can kill any of those 5 heroes by themselves. Maybe the Lone Druid, the one exception, because of Savage Roar. But any of those other 4 are insta-kills to a Blink Jewel plus Blink Melt Strike.
Exactly, and that's kind of the point of Global Silence, right? Like, where if you can send like a small squad and say the Silencer doesn't need to be there, or you can prevent retaliation even if it takes a little bit longer to kill the target that you duel, that's fine because you have the Global to protect them with.
Yeah.
Making moves onto Ori here. Defensively commits out the coil. Faith and SCCC are trying to chase down the little fairy. Oh, and SCCC spots him out, moves in. Gets the hits, gets the kill. 6 to 9 now. It's not super action-packed at this moment. Both teams kind of recognize their potential to fight, but then when they go out to execute and go on their smoke movements, the other team is, got a lot of respect and is kind of dodging those fights.
Yeah, Newbee's Newbee's really far ahead right now until this Radiance comes up. They're just able to take any pick-off that presents itself. They're taking Roche. They're taking a lot more farm on the map. They've got this incredibly farmed TA. KP's even going back for a Midas, I think, recognizing that, hey, the late game's kind of secured. But they do have to worry a little bit about this pesky bear coming in.
Yeah, okay, a duel, though, onto the real Lone Druid. Therefore, he can't cast the Roar if he gets silenced up and then blasted down. Winner, winner, chicken dinner going to be for that one, and they catch a nice burrow. Yang follow-up could be there. He's stuck inside, so nowhere is going to be a good dunk. Faith locks him in his spot and is able to help get the finish. 3 going to get dropped from the side of Vici. The rest scramble out to survive. Can FY be able to make it away? Looks like Kaka guesses incorrectly to where to burrow. And FY's speed should help carry him out, but not before I grab a bounty rune, son.
He's going to get spotted by the Dire Ward.
Oh no! He goes to farm! Get out of there, FY! It's still not safe! He actually forces, or attempts to force through the trees, and well, he hits Kaka with a mana leak. Nope. Oh, the old man dies! I shouldn't have farmed.
That was well. There's another difference there that we hadn't talked about yet. Not just being able to clear Ancients, but Newbee are much better equipped to take Roshan at just about any time that they have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
And then you see VG, they do have some AoE, and that tends to be, like the big combo tends to be good at disrupting Roche, or protecting it at least. But with the threat of the Global Silence, you saw the positioning there, like Yang was kind of, or End was kind of out there and exposed by himself on the Lone Druid. And then a great play, heads-up play by Kaka going onto the high ground to look for the Earthshaker, find where their secondary disables might be, and then with that good 2-man burrow strike with the Global Silence. So Newbee have been playing this pretty beautifully so far, I dare say. The execution, and then just sticking to the keys and finding what they need to do.
They understood what was going on. When End walks in with his bear straight into the pit, the mentality is like, okay, this guy's trying to bait heroes in to set up an Echo Slam. So the Global Silence prevents that Echo Slam, then Sand King's instantly scouting out from, as he said. They just do all these small things right to prevent any kind of like window for Vici Gaming to even turn that fight around.
Here comes a smoke move from Newbee. FY's nearby, but he did manage to snag up a haste rune. So
walked over a trap.
Runs the hell out of there before any jump could be made by Newbee.
It's another kind of 5-man smoke, but this one may be going to still work.
The bear, KP, walking out and through. KP's revealed now, but no one breaking into action yet. But they do decide to chase the bear. They do like money.
I don't know.
Can they get him though?
Mask of Madness for some extra move speed, but doesn't get the return off.
Oh, looks like that's going to be money.
Yeah, he's not going to get off the Savage Roar with the heroes there either, so... They do get 300 gold out of the smoke and some experience, but they are likely going to lose their top tier 2 tower for it.
Oh, here we go. Nice dual catch onto FY. That's more damage rewarded to KP, now up to 48. Vici get that tier 2 Jack was talking about. And let's see if they're going to just, lollygag around here, do a little bit of a siege into the high ground, or if they're going to be forced back. Because they're about to lose. Yep, they lost their tier 2.
Yeah, this top lane, though, will finally force a TP back. SCC with the Aegis being the one to do so. Question is now, can Newbee get caught? And it looks like KP will be initially found.
possibly caught, but okay, that will help out. A follow from Yang makes a nice bit of damage with the dunk, but still can't quite get the finish onto KP. Finally, they do grab it, but Yang will get dropped as a response. Faith is just chunking out the glaives. That little support is helping with those deeps. Amy in a lot of trouble, finally gets caught with the purge, and Mugi will slowly blend them up into sweet little pebbles. Nearby, we still have the chase on. It's End. He's trying to get a hold of Kaka, but that's Faith. Hit him in the back, scratching him up with some glaives right now. With the urn and with those right clicks, it's slow. Not very painful yet, but a nice root does find its connection onto Kaka. He's trying to run and hide. The poison's there. The roar comes out, but finally, Mugi comes into action, helps Faith out, and they're going to get the finish onto End.
Kind of a comical situation there. The lone druid desperately trying to chase down the Sand King while the silencer just nips away at his back with those glaives.
Stop it! Stop chasing him.
There's a TPing lone druid initially that prompted Kaka to like jump in with low health to cancel a TP. Almost dies for it, but hey, he cancels that TP home, and then his team's able to make sure they secure the kill. They did that without the Aegis TA. That's a full 4v5 fight, I want to say. I think everyone from Vici Gaming was there in some fashion. The problem is they're not there as 5 at the start with a well-coordinated initiation and execution of the fight. It's kind of like a scrappy approach where it's like they know there's no TA with Aegis. They feel kind of like they've got numbers advantage, but an epicenter with a global silence to protect it is guaranteed to go off, and Vici Gaming aren't at that point where they've got farm to actually counter the global silence.
So what are your options now for Vici in this kind of a pickle here? At that point, you're kind of reaching a bit to find any sort of scrappy fight, while Newbee seemed to be a man down, but now it needs to feel a bit more formulated. I don't know if it's just like, you know, smokes.
Yeah, I think smoke, the Aegis is about to expire, so go for a smoke play. You've got the Radiance. And the thing is, this Radiance doesn't feel too scary just because of how farm some of these Dire Heroes are right now. TA is ginormous, but you got to do something. Level 20 TA in a second.
Yeah, there's high ground defense potential when Echo is not on cooldown. And how is our boy Coddle? He needs 2 more components still for the Ags, so yeah, your high ground defense still needs some time.
And they picked this Jug after the Coddle, knowing they'd have a carry that doesn't really care about mana leak, even the Blinding Light. You can just Blade Fury it off and spin people down or hit buildings while spinning. They aren't actually that worried about Coddle, but their 2 carries, the TA as well, has BKB and Refraction, also doesn't really care about Coddle.
They're trying to get something here. It felt like it could have been good, but no. FY gets immediately spotted. They duel one, they kill another, the global comes out, and it is just an absolute disaster for Vici Gaming. Now they make their move. Mugi gets a hold of Yang. Can't quite get the finish there, actually, as Yang will be able to make it back, but look at this poor little bear. And all alone, trying to slowly make it away, but one trap. A second bear trap is popped, and then SCCC moves in and gives him a real bear hug. Takes him down, but hey, look at that! Nice smack in the face comes out from Yang, blasts down Kaka, but it looks like it may have costed him his life, or did I speak too soon? He is able to get the Yules off and blink back, tags the shrine, but he is only one of 2 survivors, as Newbee still claim the fight overall.
Yeah, and at this point, like, given the pronounced advantages, like, it feels like VG have to win the fight within 1 round of spells. Like, they don't have a 2nd or 3rd round. The problem is Newbee are capable of doing that as well, with how quickly the duels have been resolved, how much damage is dealt in 1 stun or with 1 global. It's just very hard for them to play at this point. So it almost feels like they have to hope for big Newbee mistakes or misplays to come back into this game.
I definitely feeling the same thing. I don't think there's a whole lot Vici Gaming kind of have under their own control anymore. Misplay is definitely something they have to look out for. Smoke Up is there for the Earthshaker. Perhaps this next Roshan going to be something they just may feel like they have to contest, because second Rosh giving cheese as well as Aegis plays such a big part in just closing out these games when you have these big early game advantage.
They dropped down a Sentry, which actually is just short of where the Obs is, but I don't think it was spotted regardless, and they're able to get the jump onto Kaka. It's a support pick. You're a bit behind. You'll get a little bit of money, but that is not the juicy fruit they were hoping to get.
Sand King got caught by the high ground ward. He knows about it now, but his team will be able to easily deward that.
Took a look at a quick update from Chinese stream chat. They talk a little bit. They've been talking a lot about Maybe and Sumail throughout, but there's been some savagery from the stream chat. They've been saying, I feel like VG is the CG of China. Someone else says
The CG of China. That's just
somebody else
What
did
does
say
that mean?
the clutch gamers.
Clutch gamers of
Yeah,
China.
but they, as in like, is that meant to be? Is being a clutch
That's
gamer
flame.
being an insult?
It's a flame. It's a flame. Well, given how
Man.
Clutch Gamers has performed this tournament, it's a flame. Somebody else is like, so what's the difference between End and Howl again? This looks exactly like Howl before. So obviously a lot of savagery in stream chats all over the world, but I'll be giving periodic updates from the Chinese stream
nice.
chat.
We
I love
appreciate that. Just as ruthless over there, it looks like. Well, and it feels ruthless. 21-9. Newbee in firm control of this one here. You're seeing these cutting the waves, split tactics coming out from Vici. These are just
Guerrilla warfare.
warfare tactics to try to stay alive. Mid lane, that's fun. They get a bump back onto Faith, but he has a Glimmer Cape now and will just disappear into the night. But yeah, like Jack said, this is just scrappy behavior from Vici as they do what they can to try to stretch this game out in hopes that, I don't know, Lone Druid and a Mighty Dunk will bring it home for him.
Yep. Split push time, send that bear out with Radiance to just get some waves, but...
Cottle hit pretty hard, but it looks like they can't quite finish him off. Is this the opportunity for Vici? Oh, Yang tries to run in and make a go at a CCC, but now he's going to be forced to hide. Now gets hit with the burrow. They're going to just epi it out right on top of his head. He tries to hide under the Yules, but as he falls, he gets broken apart. Meanwhile, Mugi helping to get the finish on the follow-up. The other core. Remember I said it was all in the bear and the dunker? Well, they're both dead now. So, looks like Newbee have found their opening to kind of take this one home.
Yep. To the high ground they go. They don't have an Aegis, but they've killed off two of the key core heroes of Vici Gaming and make short work of this top lane.
There's no buyback on the Earthshaker either, and even if the Lone Druid buys back, don't feel he's going to be able to do too much at this point. They can go straight for Roshan to be super safe after this as well, which just respawned with the TA trap vision, obviously. So
I'm going to back off because they lost their creep wave, so... Like you say, they see Roshan respawning, so they're going to make a beeline for that instead.
Making the safe plays. Newbee been known for that. There's been some kind of criticism within the team of not just Newbee, but other teams as well, playing super safe, and they'll say, hey, like, when it comes to these situations where somebody has to make a wild or crazy play, are you able to do that, or are you capable of doing that? And there's other factors into that as well for Chinese players, like the pressure from the fans. Sean was mentioning this, like how difficult it is, for instance, to be a non-Chinese national playing on a Chinese team. I'm sure KP has spoken out a little bit about this as well. Like on Reddit, his reception with Western fans versus Chinese fans. So a lot of pressure there if you make a kind of mistake, and the amount of flack that you get from the community there is a bit different maybe than what it is in Western circles. So that's something to watch out for. They're gonna be their theme has basically, their model has been safe and solid. That's how they play. So we'll do that.
It's interesting, like you say, KP actually kind of interacts with the Western community. Unlike Western pros to some extent, we actually see him like posting and making comments on Reddit or whatever it may be about the Chinese scene. So
yeah, or asking for business class flights. I saw that.
Well, I'll take them while we're at it, Val. Thanks.
Dakota, why didn't you say that in one of those voices that you've got? You've
I've heard KP though. I've seen KP. I've seen KP chat. He doesn't talk like that. So
that's true. That's true. He's a very laid-back, chill dude in general.
Yeah.
Here's a Vici. Somehow found themselves outside the base, so they're feeling a bit frisky here, knowing that it's a bit dire straits for them, and hopes that they have to farm as a team. The buddy system.
Are there any Chinese players or maybe teams as a whole that you feel kind of don't follow that mold of maybe overly cautious, sometimes too safe Dota?
It felt like maybe Wings for a while.
yeah, the old Wings, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like the prime example, and that's probably a big reason why people like them so much. I mean, some teams and some captains are a little bit more receptive to kind of, say, other like playstyles or ideas. I think, well, for instance, ROTK is always, he hasn't had the best results lately, but he's been very open and keeps an eye on the foreign scene. He brings in a lot of those ideas quickly. Newbee has been one of the slower teams usually to incorporate that kind of thing, and there's been talk of that as well, like in terms of hero pool, experimenting with stuff. They keep it pretty conservative for the most part, pretty steady. Yeah. So
Newbee definitely feels like they're on the very conservative side of that spectrum.
Yeah, it's like whatever team you think would definitely chill out at the summit, or what team would definitely not.
That's a good. That's
Wings
a good
is
skill.
like, they're chilling, they're playing cornhole, they want to come back, and then, you know, you have teams like Newbee and LGD, and you're like, are they even having a good time? I don't know. They're playing Dota, they're doing their thing, and then that's about it.
IG seem to hit like an okay middle ground. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not doing well right now, but like they seem to kind of, when they had their patch, they were playing well, and even since then, they're a team that seems willing to adapt and try things. I mean, the fact Burning's playing off lane, while I don't necessarily think is a good idea, they're definitely trying to adapt as early as possible, rather than just keep doing their thing.
Yeah, they've been experimenting from like Star Ladder and even before that, just like really trying to find something and playing these very different lineups.
Here goes KP.
Oh, they were smoked, and FY was not ready for that one. He gets jumped, he gets dead, Yang gets jumped, he gets dead. There's no more Echo Slam. Newbee went in for the final blow, and it was a cheap shot. One of those ones you see on World Star Hip Hop for sure. That was in their face. And now it's suddenly 3 versus 5 for what could be the final hurrah.
Kaka's in the trees. He's got a perfect position to initiate from. And they're going to likely lose 2 lanes. Yeah, let's say, I thought they might just GG when those first 2 kills happened.
Punched FY so hard he GG'd. It was rough. Yeah, so everyone, let your Vlad pride out.
That's the favorite one. That's the go-to for most players.
And Valve almost didn't have it in the game.
What were they thinking?
What were they thinking? All right, congratulations, Newbee.
That has become like the Christmas song of these sayings. You know, I don't know about you guys, but not to be the Grinch or anything, but when you start to hear the Christmas songs come on earlier and earlier, we're talking about like mid-October, right? And it just plays all the way nonstop through like mid-January. I think that's a little excessive.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
Vlad clip and maybe approaching that juncture.
Too early.
So.
You want it closer to TI is what you're saying. It's
yeah, exactly. Can we at least
we're not
wait
in the TI spirit yet.
Yeah.
Well, it's the first time, so maybe they're kind of, you know, they're trying it out a bit. But as far as the game goes, that one felt like pretty much Newbee's game from start to finish. There was a lot of expectations from Vici Gaming as far as what they needed to do, and obviously one of those key things was a successful laning phase. You got to have ganks happening with your Earth Spirit finding good success. He ends up 0-5, so wasn't really able to kind of find a lot of success there. They had that early commitment to the coddle, and you're kind of like, what is the idea with that? What are they pairing it with? What are they hoping to get out of it? And I don't know. I just didn't get really a lot of answers from Vici.
Yeah, they had a decent start in the lanes. I think that top lane, but that mid lane I think is very different. If they missed like maybe 3 or 4 rolls from HYM, that if they landed could have been a different story, with TA actually getting killed and not just put low. SCC ends the game with 0 death, 9-0. He was the stand-up player. He farmed phenomenally well. Like, I mean, as far as calling MVPs, I'd definitely say him just because of pure individual play. But I think Vici Gaming had opportunities with their draft. They just didn't execute it well.
The early game, I think, had to look very different from them, and maybe what they underestimated was what me as well, like the lone druid and how he would do in a safe lane. Because usually you think of it, as you guys said, of being a bit more self-sufficient. But in this case, with the Sand King, that Orb of Venom just running at him in that dual lane, he just never got a chance to come online and died a few times as well. So that really slowed them down because of how dependent they were on that lone druid. It feels like to take any fights beyond the early game, and you know, him just getting the 25-minute radiance with the Mask of Madness just not going to do it.
So that means that Newbee are now 4-3 and have put themselves in a strong candidate position for the upper bracket. I don't think anything is solidified yet. I know other matches are happening at the same time. The Clutch Gamers versus OG game. How about that match? Is that still going?
I think 4-3 guarantees you tiebreakers is what it does.
Okay.
So there's 3 teams that can go 5-2, but the 4th slot is going to be a 4-3, is what I'm seeing. So Newbee are either in the top 4 or in tiebreakers for that last slot.
Well, if EG wins against LFY, that clinches it for Newbee. So it's going to come down to that, which I believe is the game we have coming up next. And it looks like OG took care of business against CG.
Yep. We have here IG versus LGD. At least that's the lobby I'm sitting in right now. Oh, but on our screen we have EG versus LFY. But according to production, he's not sure either.
Okay.
Did that other game over? Are they waiting for a game 2? We're not too sure.
It looks like it's over. They may have even started that EG game.
Quit. Get on
because that's
stream.
the big game. But
get over to Beyond the Summit 2.
Yeah.
Let's see what our boy Breaky, Z-Rock are up to right now.
I'm popping it open. I think they may have started. So that they're in the draft. So you guys should head over to BTS. That's like the deciding group stage match.
That's a big one. And we got our boys in blue playing against, wait, what did you say, LFY?
LFY.
Yeah.
LFY. That's the Bog. EG Egg versus the Bog. Over.
Well, Oh, we're going to be missing the bog unless there's a tiebreaker. I want to see more of the bog in the group stage.
If you guys like the bog, you got to head over to Beyond the Summit 2 for Breaky and Z-Rock bringing you the coverage. The draft has just started. We are going to cut to a small break, and then when we come back, we're going to be going into IG versus LGD. Should be a blast. These are two top competing teams. LGD are currently second with 4-2, and IG, okay, they're not top competing. They're down there at 2-4. My bad, but they are a TI competitor. So
yeah, LGD if they win can get the top seed because
they have the tiebreakers over
both Western
any
teams.
5-2 squad potentially.
Yeah. Over OG and then EG if they win. So I think they may just straight up win the group if they win. So it's big for them.
They do, yeah.
cool. All right, we'll cut to a break. When we return, more of Beyond the Summit's English coverage of the Mars TV LAN.